Let me tell you a cold truth. It's not how much you study. It's not how long you study. It's how you think while you study that creates winners and losers. Most students operate on just one or two shallow levels of thinking. They memorize facts, cram last-minute notes, and hope their brain magically spits out the right answer during the exam. That's not studying, that's gambling, and it's exactly why they fail. Because real learning doesn't happen on the surface, it happens beneath it. There are 6 hidden levels of thinking every top-performing student uses, consciously or unconsciously. And unless you master all 6, your brain will keep working against you, sabotaging your memory, draining your focus, and crushing your confidence during exams. This isn't some motivational theory. This is cognitive warfare. The school system never teaches this because it was designed to create obedient test takers, not intelligent thinkers. But if you want to escape the mental trap, if you want to rise above the 99%, then you must reprogram the way you think, from level 1 to level 6. Because right now, if you're like most students, you're stuck at level 1, passive absorption. Reading notes, underlining textbooks, watching videos, without ever questioning or manipulating the information. Your brain becomes a container, not a weapon. You absorb, 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 until your brain is full. And when the exam comes, you panic, you blank out, you forget. Because passive thinking is fragile thinking. It collapses under pressure. But imagine if, instead, you could rise to level 2, active engagement, where every fact you learn turns into a question. Every paragraph becomes a challenge. Every topic becomes something you fight with, not something you worship. Now imagine reaching level 3, structural thinking, where you don't just memorize facts, you start seeing how concepts connect, how they're built, how one idea triggers another like a domino effect. Suddenly, the syllabus becomes a map. You're no longer lost in topics. You see the entire territory, and you become unstoppable. But that's just the beginning, because levels 4, 5, and 6, that's where exponential brain power kicks in. That's where you create your own explanations, solve unseen questions, and crush the examiner's tricks like they're nothing. This is the level where top scorers live, not because they're smarter, but because they've trained their mind to think in layers, not lines. They don't rely on luck. They rely on cognitive architecture. And here's the scary part. Most students will never reach these levels, not because they can't, but because they don't even know these levels exist. They keep walking in circles, repeating the same habits, hoping for different results. But not you, because if you're watching this video, it means you're ready to burn the old system down. You're ready to stop studying like a slave and start thinking like a strategist. You're ready to master the 6 levels of thinking that separate the top 1% from the crowd. And once you do, no exam, no syllabus, and no subject will ever scare you again. So let's begin. Let's break down each level one by one, so you can transform your brain into a focused, fluid, high-performance machine. The kind of mind that doesn't just pass exams, but dominates them. Level 1, passive absorption. The illusion of learning. This is where most students stay trapped forever. They think reading a chapter means they've learned it. They highlight, they underline, they rewrite notes. It feels productive, but it's a lie, because your brain is just receiving, not processing. It's like pouring water into a glass with a crack. It leaks, and during the exam, gone, forgotten, blanked out. This is why students fail even when they studied everything, because they never engage their thinking circuits. Passive absorption is mental slavery. It keeps you obedient, dependent, and helpless. If you recognize yourself here, good, because that means you're finally ready to escape. Level 2, active engagement. The war begins. Here, you stop being a student and become a mental warrior. Instead of just reading, you attack the material. You ask questions, you challenge facts, you summarize out loud, you translate concepts into your own words. Your brain stops absorbing like a sponge and starts sculpting like an artist. This is where memory begins to harden. When you engage with what you're learning, you don't just know it, you own it. Active engagement turns your brain from a container into a weapon. And that's just level 2. Level 3, structural thinking. See the blueprint, not the bricks. At this level, your mind starts seeing how ideas are built. You begin to ask, what's the structure behind this concept? How does this connect with what I already know? What's the cause? What's the effect? What's the hierarchy? You're no longer just studying facts. You're mapping frameworks. Imagine your syllabus as a skyscraper. Most students stare at the walls. You're looking at the architecture. This unlocks unbreakable memory because now, even if someone gives you a brand new question, you can trace it through the structure and solve it. This level is where the top 5% of students operate, and yet we're only halfway up. Level 4, analytical disassembly, break to understand. Now you begin breaking ideas apart. You don't just accept formulas or theories, you dissect them. Why does this equation work? What happens if I tweak one variable? What's the flaw in this explanation? This is the level where you stop being a consumer of knowledge and start becoming a creator of insight. It's like hacking into the brain of your textbook and rewriting the code. This kind of thinking trains you to spot exceptions, shortcuts, and traps that average students never notice. At this level, the examiner stops being a threat and starts becoming predictable. Level 5, synthetic thinking. Fuse, blend, master. This is the creative fusion level. You take different ideas from different subjects and you start blending them. You mix chemistry with biology. You link history with political theory. You combine physics equations with real-world scenarios. Now, your brain becomes an idea factory. You're not just answering questions, you're generating possibilities, creating connections the examiner never expected. This is where deep genius begins to form. Synthetic thinkers walk into exams and predict the questions because their mind is already 5 steps ahead. And now comes the final level. Level 6. Metacognition, thinking about thinking. This is the God mode of learning. At this level, you start watching your own mind like a scientist. You ask, why did I get this wrong? What thought pattern led to this mistake? Am I thinking clearly right now, or emotionally? Metacognition is mind control. It allows you to fix your focus, optimize your memory, and shift strategies when your brain is tired or distracted. This level separates elite performers from smart students, because smart students rely on ability. Elite performers rely on awareness. You see your own biases. You adjust your pace. You detect confusion before it turns into failure. With metacognition, you become your own teacher. And that's when you stop being a student forever. Now, listen carefully. The 6 levels of thinking are not just study tips. They are evolution steps. Each level gives you control over a deeper layer of your mind. But here's the catch. Most students will never move past level 2 because they crave shortcuts. They fear discomfort. They want results without rewiring their thinking. But you, if you want to dominate exams, if you want to become the kind of person who cannot be ignored in any classroom, then you must climb all 6 levels. Start today. Because the longer you stay at level 1, the more you will suffer in silence, while others surpass you. Your mind is a weapon. Sharpen it, level it up, control it, and no exam, no syllabus, no teacher will ever have power over you again. Now tell me this, which level are you stuck at right now? Be honest. Drop it in the comments, because the moment you say it out loud, you take back control. And if you're ready to rise, I'll be reading every comment. Let's level up together.